All right, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We'll be going over some tips about engaging youth at your hoop shoot contest. Remember, it's all about the kids, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Having an engaging contest is not only good for contestants, it's good for the program in your lodge. So thanks again for being here this afternoon. I know a lot of us work and have other things to do in our busy lives, so I appreciate you taking the time to go through this webinar with me. My name is Colleen Muzinski, and I'm the Youth Programs Associate here at the Elks National Foundation, and I'm in charge of running the day-to-day aspects of all things hoop shoot. So if you call our office or email hoopshoot@elks.org, there's a 99% chance that you'll be talking to me. So let's get started. So I'd just like to touch on a few points about today's webinar. If you can't hear me, turn up the volume. And if at any point you get disconnected, return to your email webinar confirmation and click the link again to re-enter. And if you have any issues, feel free to call our office at the phone number right there on the screen. And on your right-hand side, you should see a dashboard where you can ask questions. And I'll be taking any questions you have at the very end of the presentation. If you have to leave for whatever reason in the middle of the presentation, but you still have a question you'd like answered, feel free to type it in and leave your email address so I can get back to you, or call the office or email hoopshoot@elks.org. So what I like to do before all of our webinars is just to go over the Hoop Shoot program goals. Remember, the Hoop Shoot is more than a contest. It's more than those 25 free throws. And at that idea is especially pertinent for today's topic, engaging your contestants. The Hoop Shoot is a chance for you to interact with youth and families in your community in a meaningful way. It's also an opportunity to promote Elks values and serve youth through the contest. And it's a chance for you to give kids the tools they need to be successful on and off the court. So we have 3 overarching program goals which are important to keep in mind whenever you're planning your contest or anytime you do anything for the program. So first and foremost, we want to create a quality experience for youth, and we want to engage contestants at every level of competition. So win or lose, we want every hoop shoot contestant to walk away from the contest saying that they had fun, that they learned valuable life lessons, and that they met some stellar Elks. So that's what today is all about, making sure that that experience for your contestants is a quality experience. And that's also the reason why this webinar is open to directors at every level, from lodge all the way on up, because this is something that we all need to work on at every level of competition. We also want to promote program values to contestants in new and fun ways. So hard work, dedication, sportsmanship. We want to think of creative ways to encourage participants and contestants to adopt these values as their own. And finally, we want to increase Elk visibility in the community and inspire parents of contestants and other Hoop Shoot partners to join the order. And that's what it's all about, right? We want people to see all the great things that the Elks are doing in their communities and inspire them to get involved as well. So the Hoop Shoot is really more than ensuring that rules are followed and that the gym is set up correctly. We want every child that participates to walk away with a positive experience. And remember, you only have one chance at a first impression. So if you do the prep work early, you put in that time to make sure you're going to have an engaging and fun contest, you'll knock that first impression out of the park. So what do we mean by engaging contestants? So we already have the 25 free throws down. As a Hoop Shoot director, you are well equipped and well prepared to run your contests. You have volunteers in place, you have a gym set up, you have the basketballs already, and you know the rules for the Hoop Shoot. But how can we reach the program goals that I just talked about in a meaningful way? And that's just by engaging contestants, right? That's a no-brainer. We want to go above and beyond to create a quality experience through kid-friendly activities before, during, and after your Hoop Shoot contest. We want kids to have such a great time learning the values of the Hoop Shoot that they tell all of their friends, and we want families to create quality relationships with the Elks so that they tell all of their friends too. So seems like a tall order and it seems like a lot of work, but trust me, it's not. We're going to go over in these next couple slides things that you can do before, during, and after your contest, like I just mentioned. And then I'll also offer up some real-world examples to do so. So things that lodge directors, district directors, state directors, and regional directors have implemented at their contests and have seen results from. So just an overall tip though, something we just want to keep in mind. You want to make sure that the contestants' experience is at the forefront of everything you do as far as planning goes. Every step of the way, ask yourself if the decisions you're making in planning for your contest are kid-friendly and benefit your contestants. So keep that in mind, and if you keep that in the forefront, decisions you make in planning for your hoop shoot contest should engage your contestants right off the bat. So let's start with before your hoop shoot contest. So when we think back to our goals, it's not about recruiting. It's not just all about recruiting youth to participate, but it's about really interacting and connecting with contestants and potential contestants. So it's quality, not quantity. If you make those quality connections with potential contestants, you're going to see a return at your hoop shoot contest. So running kid-friendly events and activities before the contest is the best way to accomplish this. So events with direct elk interaction can serve not only as a way to recruit potential contestants, but to introduce kids and families to the Elks. So these may be events that your lodge already runs, so be sure to talk with your lodge youth activities chair, drug awareness chair, and scholarship chairs, as well as any grant project managers, and think of creative ways to add the hoop shoot message to already existing events and programs. And make personal connections through these events with families that make them want to come back to the lodge to do the hoop shoot. So make sure that the hoop shoot is front and center in some capacity of the events your lodge may already run. Throw in a team building, sportsmanship, healthy living, or drug awareness aspect to kids' activities that the lodge puts on to really drive home the values of the hoop shoot and to engage those potential contestants. And another great tip is get kids involved in planning. Getting kids involved with planning by giving them meaningful roles and responsibilities will not only help them build leadership skills, but it'll get kids invested and interested in the experience and therefore more likely to participate. So even if you enlist a child, your son or daughter or niece or nephew or a grandchild to help you plan something that would be fun for kids, that's a great way to get the ball rolling. Ask their opinion, give them those responsibilities. It'll not only hone those leadership skills for kids, but it'll also encourage them to plan, right? If they put in all this time helping to plan an activity, they're obviously much more likely to do it. And it's going to be an activity they like because they got a chance to let you know what they want. So keep those things in mind when you think about activities and events to run before your contest. So let's go over some real-world examples. So in Augusta, Georgia, they invite families and former contestants to a yearly open house. This yearly open house highlights all of the Elks programs, but they make sure that those former contestants are there to mingle and to kind of explain what the hoop shoot means to them. And, as I'm sure you've run into and encountered as a hoop shoot director, you could talk about how great the hoop shoot is until you're blue in the face, but really it's hearing it from someone who's already participated that, that really drives home the point and drives home why it's beneficial and important to participate in the contest. So down there in Georgia, they already have an open house that they do every year, so they make sure to add that hoop shoot element and add those hoop shoot testimonials to enhance and again bring the hoop shoot front and center to that event. In Dowagiac, Michigan, they set up a table in a local cafeteria at a middle school and raffle off basketballs. So this is a great, easy way to interact with potential contestants directly. They raffle off basketballs to pre-registered contestants to generate interest. So they have that table set up, kids get interested, they come up, they say, what's this for? you explain to them the hoop shoot and get them to put down some contact information and give them the date of your contest. And then you also have them maybe sign a little piece of paper to raffle off basketball. So, you know I hear from volunteers again and again, and I understand that sometimes it's very hard to get a foot in the door at a local school district. So if this might not be something that would work for your particular area, you could try it at a local basketball tournament, community center, or Boys and Girls Club. But, you know, it's a quick afternoon. You can go out there, again, face-to-face interaction with potential contestants, have those basketballs to raffle off to generate interest. So I think Dowagiac is on the right track there. In Redondo Beach, California, they offer a free throw training program for winners of their lodge contests. So every contestant moving on in the contest has access to this free free throw training program, which I think it's great because it shows that the Elks are invested in the contestant's success. And it's also great opportunity, and it's a great example of interacting with kids, you know, beyond the lodge level. So moving on to districts is a big deal, and it's exciting, and showing that you're there for those contestants by maybe running a free throw training program, you know, an afternoon right before the contest is great. You know, bring in a local basketball coach or someone else who'll be able to give them one-on-one tips. Great example of an easy, fun event. And then in Effingham, Illinois, we have the lodge down there that holds a community youth law day with guest speakers. So they invite past hoop shoot participants to speak, much like Augusta, Georgia. And that's, you know, another example of a youth event that the lodge already runs, that they put in that hoop shoot aspect to enhance it. We have a couple of other examples that I couldn't even fit on this particular slide. Border, Texas hosts a free throw clinic for youth weeks before contests and invites a guest free throw coach. So, you know, at open gym sessions leading up to the contest, you could have something like Free Throw Fridays or something like that. Just another example of engaging, again, those contestants that may have already won and are moving on up. And then an example from a regional contest, we have the Great Lakes Region 4, which has a tradition of hosting team building activities and games right before their contests. So this is something that's not even happening days before their contest. It's happening maybe hours before. You know, they get contestants together and get them involved in games that require them to work together and communicate. And the games and activities are led by Elks, and parents are invited to join the fun as well. So that's a fun, easy addition to right before your contest. And then finally, another example comes straight from our national finals in Springfield, Massachusetts. We have a family movie night the Thursday night before the contest. And, you know, I send out a survey to all 72 national finalists. They get a chance to vote on which movie they want to watch. We bring in pizza, and it's just a great, fun, relaxing thing to do before the big contest. So think about maybe incorporating some sort of family-friendly movie night before your contest, especially if you're a district or state director. But that would work at the lodge level as well if you just want to have a family movie night, maybe in the summer or something well before your hoop shoot. But again, easy, fun thing to throw together. So engaging contestants before your contest might take a little bit more effort, especially if you decide to run an extra event or activity. So, you know, again, it's going to take a little bit more planning, but the payoff is tremendous. Right now we're going to talk about some things you can do during your contest. So you're already doing a lot during your contest, so we want to make these additions fun and easy. You know, we don't want these additions to stress you out. They should be simple, and they should be things that volunteers you already have in place could help you implement. So this is something as simple as providing kid-friendly music during warm-ups, or awarding a prize that encourages teamwork at the end of your, you know, during the contest. You could play a short clip from before the contest, you know, such as our Hoop Shoot PSA, which we have posted on our website. You know, just fun things to enhance your contest, make it even more kid-friendly, and to help impart the values of the hoop shoot. So make sure through these easy additions you get contestants and the crowd involved, especially little siblings that might, you know, be able to do the hoop shoot in a year or two. Another idea and example is think about encouraging contestants to serve through free throws. There's so many inspiring and heartwarming stories of hoop shoot contestants who decide to dedicate, a certain amount of money for every free throw that they make during the contest to go to a charity that they care about. And so, maybe setting that up for something for your contestants to do during your contest is a great idea as well. So again, the ideas and tips we're going to go through in this next slide are meant to be easy and fun. They're not meant to add so much extra stress, just little enhancements you can make to make your contest even more family and kid-friendly than it already is. So, some real-world examples. Pontiac Waterford, Michigan has a local TV station broadcast their contests and their awards banquet this season. So that's really fun, and I love that they got a chance to work with a local TV station to do this, because how cool is it when you're 8 years old to see yourself on TV, or to have, your cousin call you up and say that they saw you competing on TV. It really adds a lot to the hoop shoot experience if you can, say that you guys, that it's being broadcast for everyone to see. So if that's possible for you, definitely look into something like that. Even if it's not something that's possible on a local TV station, it might be worthwhile to have someone record the contest or record the awards banquet and then offer it as a DVD maybe after, or some sort of keepsake. So it's an easy addition. San Antonio, Texas has superheroes show up during their contest. I love this idea. They have a group called NDG Heroes and More attend the event as superheroes to help entertain the kids between contests. So they have Batman, Supergirl, the Riddler show up and, interact with the kids, interact with the contestants. It sounds like a great, easy way to kind of get the crowd going and interact with the kids on another level. And superheroes are huge now, so great idea. Even if you had like a local high school team, or like a dance team or a POMS team want to come and do something like that as well, maybe a local high school mascot, it's a great way to engage kids who might not be able to participate in the hoop shoot, but who need community service hours or would like to inspire kids younger than them and engage them. So another great example from Region 8 is they have a grand entrance for directors and contestants, complete with pump-up music and a smoke machine. So just another example of easy additions. I got a chance to go to that contest in Colorado last year, and it was a lot of fun. So they had pump-up music come and lights, and all the directors ran in with their contestants, and everyone got pumped up and excited about the contest. They also had these huge poster-sized replicas of specifically the Kansas State champions in the crowd. So, if anyone's ever seen a collegiate basketball game, a lot of kids do, a lot of the college kids do that. They have big giant blow-ups and they wave them and stuff like that. And, what a fun thing to do, and what a fun thing if you see, yourself blow-up size all the way in the crowd. That's a fun, easy addition. So, speaking of collegiate basketball games, just a tip, watch, and this seems, intuitive, but still, watch or attend an amateur or professional basketball game for inspiration. Having volunteers, contest officials, and the contest announcer on board with these easy, fun additions really helps. If you have an announcer that maybe wants to try a new voice or really pump up the crowd with, a song or something like that, any easy addition like that to get everyone engaged, during the contest. So other examples, bring Elroy in, just like he is right there at the Basketball Hall of Fame on your screen. Live tweet the event if you want to. Have a poster making contest for siblings. Toss freebies into the crowd, with a t-shirt cannon or something. I mean, not with a t-shirt cannon. I don't know a lot of people who have access to one, but, something like that. Toss in those freebies. Another example or fun idea would be get dads or directors to dress up for a silly halftime show. Or think about inviting a keynote speaker or a local celebrity to attend and address a crowd between contests, or, any of those ideas, easy, fun additions. Make it silly, make it fun, make it somewhere that all the kids want to be, So those are just some examples of, real world examples, and a lot of other easy little things that you can do to enhance your contest. All right, so I've talked my head off about things you could do before and during your contest. So let's talk about after your contest. So, an awards banquet after the contest is great, and recognizing winners is important. And that's something that the lot, if not all contests, especially the district level on up, do. And it's important to highlight the successes of, contestants who win, but also make sure that you highlight the successes of all participants at a post-contest awards event. And what I mean by that is, make sure you do something special, even something easy and small, to recognize everyone who came out to compete. Not everyone could be a winner, not everyone can win first place, but everyone could be recognized for putting in the effort and time to come to the contest. So we have participant certificates posted in the director's drills section of the Hoop Shoot website that you can print out and personalize. So that's a great, easy addition to your awards banquet, and a great thing to do to make sure that you do to recognize all participants after the contest. After contest events don't necessarily have to happen directly after your contest. You can collect parents' emails addresses when possible and maybe send out an invite to an event well after the contest. Think of events that positively engage youth and their families and impart elk values, much like the events and activities we talked about you could potentially do before your contest. In the same way, you can also do after your contest, especially if you do something in the months after your contest. It's a great way to, make sure that you engage those contestants and families. Make sure you're still thinking about them even after the hoop shoot, and remind them of how much fun they had at the hoop shoot. Especially if you added a thing or two to enhance the contest, like we just talked about. It can't hurt to remind them how much fun they had, and it can't hurt to remind them to keep the Elks in mind when they think of fun family events and events that teach their kids important life lessons. So the most important thing about that is, make sure you have those parents' contact information so that they can actually come to these events and activities you might want to run. So let's talk about some real-world examples. So we have Libby, Montana, which provides an outing to local high school football game for all participants after the contest. It's a great way to engage contestants in local sports and get them inspired to continue to participate in after-school programs and programs just like the Hoop Shoot. Newberry, Michigan has an awards presentation during a local high school varsity basketball game. So, in the same way, they're engaging contestants in, activities and in sports that they may participate in the very near future. It's a great way to recognize them in front of a group of their peers. So, Louisiana, Missouri invites contestants to volunteer at their winter celebration for Head Start kids. I love this idea because it's, again, like I talked about before, something that the lodge already does. They make sure to invite contestants to this volunteer opportunity to impart, the values of helping others. Winter celebration is pretty close to after their lodge contest, so they're keeping those kids engaged and involved in lodge activities even after they shoot their 25 free throws. So a couple other ideas. Another awards idea, Cartersville, Georgia has contest winners shoot hoops and receive awards during halftime of a WNBA Atlanta Dream game, which is great. Obviously, not every community has a WNBA team or an NBA team or, even an amateur team. So obviously this doesn't work everywhere, but much like doing the awards presentation during a varsity basketball game, it's a great way to just highlight the successes of your contestants in front of a crowd. In front of a big crowd, it makes it more special, and it also lets more people in on the hoop shoot. And then we have Livingston, Montana, which invites their hoop shoot champions to participate in a Christmas parade, which I love. Another great way to highlight the successes of their champions. And then just, I guess just a small logistical sample, but something that works for the Mansfield, Massachusetts Lodge. They send a monthly email update to Hoop Shoot parents and contestants to keep them up with the lodge events in their area. So they have that listserv up and running. They send monthly reminder emails to those parents to keep them engaged and involved right after their contest. So all great examples of ways to highlight the successes of your hoop shoot contestants and keep families and contestants engaged well after they shoot their 25 free throws. So. All right, so we've gone over things to keep in mind when you're engaging contestants and families and given real-world examples for before, during, and after your contest. But as you can tell, you might need to enlist some help to do some of these things, especially if you're going to have another event before or after your contest, or if you're adding enhancements that require a lot of volunteer help during your contest. Who are you going to ask to help, especially if you have a key group of volunteers who are already helping you with the logistics of the contest and the 25 free throws. So here's some examples of groups of people you can draw on. Not only will these groups have, people who have a vested interest in helping youth, and they'll also provide a second-hand set of helping hands. But these are 3 great groups of potential role models for kids participating. So invite Elks scholars if you can. Scholars like Marianne, Jesse, and Macy, who are up there on the screen, can help with social media and documenting the contest. And these materials can be great things to forward to participants after the contest as a keepsake. So if you have an Elks scholar or a scholar in your area who would like to, again, be a videographer for the day or perhaps live tweet the event, great thing to have them do and a great task for them to do. You can also think about personally reaching out to former participants and their families. We talked about that, especially for activities before the contest. Having that personal testimonial to potential participants is key. And also recruit local high school basketball teams and coaches to be involved in your event. Again, a lot of high schoolers need service hours, and it would be a great, easy connection to make for a local basketball team to help out. And think about your lodge's membership as well. Think about their interests and professions and passions. Enlist teachers, musicians, entertainers, crafters. Harness those skills of your membership and personally invite them to help enhance your contest in any way they can. If you'd like more information about finding Elks scholars to help out your contest, you can email me at hoopshoot@elks.org or just the general ENF email at enf@elks.org, and we can hook you up with scholars who might be attending college in your area or who might be from your area originally. So these are, again, good groups of people to draw on to help you enhance your contest. All right, thank you so much for sticking with me. I have 2 more slides to go through, and then we're done for today. So again, thanks for taking the time out of your afternoon to learn more about how to engage contestants. So just one more tip, make sure you brag on the Lodge Contest Report form. I've mentioned this form in other webinars. This is the one way in which we are collecting participation numbers for the Hoop Shoot this year. It's completely online and must be submitted by a lodge director. And on the screen you can see some basic information about the form. It's in the lodge director section of director's drills on the Hoop Shoot website. You need your elks.org username and password to access the form. It breaks down participation into preliminary and lodge contests, so any kids participating in school contests before your lodge contest get counted as well. And then it has also questions about engaging contestants and volunteers. And, I mentioned this form again today because this is how we hear about your successes. The majority, if not all of the real-world examples actually that I've mentioned today have come from the Lodge Contest Report form. In an evaluation of all the forms we got last year, I had 31 lodges who had new, innovative, great examples of how they engaged their contestants before, during, and after their contests. So those were ideas and things that I had no idea existed until they were written down on the Lodge Contest Report form. So when you share, we all learn. So make sure you brag about your contest successes, brag about your great ideas for engaging contestants on the Lodge Contest Report form. So that's just a PSA from me to you to make sure that not only is that form filled out, but it's filled out with good information if you have it, good ideas. Tell me what's going on at your contest, and again, I can impart those lessons and those examples onto other directors so we can all learn. So, and finally, on the screen is some great places for you to get other ideas. And so as you can see, there are 4 icons up there, 4 logos for all of them are national nonprofits and national programs that help kids, including the Elks Kid Zone, which is sponsored by the Elks Drug Awareness Program. So these are all great examples of, again, national nonprofits who are committed to encouraging healthy living in youth, and all of these websites provide great examples of ways to do so. So I guess I should just mention that, obviously on each of these organizations' websites, there's not a section for engaging hoop shoot contestants specifically, and obviously that's not the case. You're going to have to do a little bit of piecing together and digging through their resources, but the Let's Move campaign, the Fuel Up to Play 60, sponsored by the NFL, the Action for Healthy Kids organization, and the Drug Awareness Program sponsored by the Elks are all all have great resources and tools for engaging kids of hoop shoot age in healthy living. So I have all of these websites available. I can email you the direct URL. If you just simply click on Google and Google Action for Healthy Kids, for example, it'll pop up. But let's actually go to some of these websites right now, and I can show you why they're so great. So first here we have the Action for Healthy Kids, and what they do is their main goal and mission is to encourage schools specifically in imparting healthy living values and habits to their student population. So they have tools for schools and events, specifically in your state, to do so. So if we click on the tools for schools, they have great ideas for simple games and simple activities that you can do, maybe before, during, or after your contest to encourage healthy living. So what's great about this website is, it's specifically for those that would like to engage kids of the hoop shoot age, and it has great ideas for games to do so. So easy additions to your contest can be made by using the Tools for Schools section of the Action for Healthy Kids website. And let's go to another awesome example is the Fuel Up to Play 60, and this is sponsored by the NFL. And so this is a program where they engage kids again in healthy living, and they ask kids to be healthy living ambassadors in their schools. So the great thing about this website, it has resources specifically for kids and resources specifically for students and community members who would like to encourage those types of things in local programs. So this again has millions and millions of ideas and resources. It has testimonials, and I would encourage you to just poke around this website, look at the playbook. It has physical activity and healthy eating plays, which means it has activities and things that you can download and do. This is another great resource. The other one I wanted to highlight today, and it's the last one we'll go through, so bear with me, is the Elks Kid Zone. So this is sponsored by the Elks Drug Awareness Program, and it's a great fun website. This website is specifically geared towards kids, so it's a great thing, if anything, to just point your contestants in the direction of. It also offers videos and comic books that are available for download, and then also coloring pages and things like that. So if you want an easy, fun thing to just add to your contest, definitely you'll be able to find it here on the Kid Zone. And Getting Fit with Elroy is a lot of fun. It has a lot of great information about why drugs are bad, and it's in that it's at a level that kids can understand and kids can engage in. So check that out as well. So again, those are just a couple of the resources available to you on the World Wide Web. Ask local teachers or PE teachers what they use, to come up with activities to engage kids in especially healthy living and sportsmanship and things like that. I'm sure there's a plethora of resources and information available to teachers that I don't even know about, and great to ask a local teacher or someone involved in teaching kids those things on a daily basis and see what they use. So again, all these URLs are pretty straightforward. If you just type them into Google or email me and I can send you the direct link. So great resources. Again, even more information that I could talk for hours and hours if I went through all of them, but I'll spare you that. So that does it for today. If you have any questions, email me, hoopshoot@elks.org. Give me a call at the number on the screen or visit our website. Especially the Director's Drill section has, tons more information and materials than you could possibly ever need. And, again, if you have any questions too, make sure you put them on the right-hand side in that dashboard. But otherwise, again, thank you so much for spending a portion of your afternoon with me today. This webinar has been recorded, so I'll throw it up on the website and on YouTube so that you can access it again or send it along to any directors or Elks who might be interested. So thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.